through the famed Notre Dame Cathedral, French firefighters took on the
All kinds of weird shit going on, bud.
Is everything happening in the world just random, or are the final signs starting to show themselves? Early in 2026, violence breaks out. Cities fall into chaos. Huge explosions tear through the air, and strange things keep appearing in the sky that nobody can fully explain. It all comes fast, hard, and all at once, so people no longer feel that old sense of safety. In just a short time, social conflicts get worse. Fire and smoke cover everything. Strange objects show up in front of the sun. Unusual lights shoot high into the sky. And big black rings hang there like giant question marks. 10 phenomena, 10 warnings, coming one after another, almost forcing humanity to face a truth that's hard to avoid. Do you still believe everything is under control? The next part won't give easy answers, but it will show why more and more people no longer see this as normal anymore. And before we go on, could you help me by leaving a short prayer in the comments below, just as a way to show your faith in the Lord? Amen. Now I won't make you wait any longer. We're jumping right into the first phenomenon. 1. Chaos erupts in Lille. Firefighters spray police with fire extinguishers. Storm SDS, Nord headquarters. Lille burst into anger, and everyday order fell apart in just a few hours. On blocked streets, tire smoke rolled up in front of the SDIS Nord building, sirens blaring non-stop as the two sides faced off right in the heart of the city. In the middle of it all, one cold truth hit home. When the people who are supposed to save lives have to take to the streets themselves, society has slipped into a much deeper mess than most folks realize. The clash didn't come out of nowhere. For months, firefighters in northern France had been warning about too few people on the job, super long shifts, and budget cuts. They said the whole system was being pushed to a dangerous breaking point, where one big emergency could cost lives. Hundreds gathered, blocked the Lille Ring Road, and marched to the SDIS Nord headquarters demanding answers. Things got out of hand fast. The crowd pushed in through the vehicle entrance, yanked fire extinguishers off the walls, and sprayed them straight at police lines. White smoke filled the lobby. Shouts echoed everywhere. Metal objects clanged on the stone floor. Police fought back with tear gas and batons, pushing the situation into full-on violence and turning the rescue headquarters into a chaotic hotspot. According to reports, authorities had to bring in more officers to hold the area, while some roads stayed blocked for hours. A few vehicles got smashed, fires were lit right on the pavement, and police had to pull back to avoid getting hurt. No official injury numbers came out right away, but the level of fighting showed a serious breakdown between the groups we count on to keep the public safe. In the middle of that scene, the Bible speaks plainly. Matthew 24:6-7 says, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Nation will rise against nation." This warning isn't just about military battles. It's about conflict spreading right inside society, where groups turn against each other. Public reaction split quickly. Some condemned the violence and said the protest went way beyond the law. Others showed support, sharing pictures and thanks to the firefighters who still run into fires every day, even as conditions get worse. On social media, plenty called them the last line of defense for the community. Matthew 24:8 adds, "All these are the beginning of birth pains." What happened in Lille isn't some one-off incident. It's a sign that social order is cracking from the inside. When trust between protective forces and the government starts to shake, the big question left hanging is whether other cities will soon see the same kind of scenes. 2. Terrible explosion. Gas station blows up. Hundreds of tons. Fuel truck flies 1,000 feet like a toy. A huge blast tore through Grozny, and in just a moment, a gas station turned into a giant ball of fire. Flames shot up right in the middle of a crowded neighborhood. The shock wave swept across nearby buildings and shook the ground like it had been hit head-on. There was no warning, no time to react. Everything happened in a few short seconds. The explosion took place right next to tall apartment buildings where people were going about their normal day. A big fuel truck, weighing hundreds of tons, got thrown from its spot and flew almost 1,000 feet before crashing down into the courtyard of a high-rise. The sight left a lot of people stunned, because the force needed to do that was way beyond what you usually see in a regular industrial accident. Flames rose dozens of feet high. Metal and concrete pieces flew in every direction, and thick black smoke rolled up and covered a big part of the sky. The heat was strong enough to shatter windows in nearby buildings, and many cars parked close by burned completely. Reports said rescue teams had to block off the area for hours to prevent more explosions, since leftover fuel could catch fire at any time. In the videos that spread afterward, you could hear people screaming, emergency sirens, and panicked footsteps. At that moment, it wasn't just one accident anymore, it was a picture of a safety system pushed to a dangerous edge. When an energy site blows up in a residential area, the question isn't just, why did it happen? But where will something like this happen next? The Bible talks about times like these. Luke 21:11 says, "There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven." Those words aren't only about natural disasters. They also point to shocking events that make people see how fragile everything we've built really is. Experts looking at the first reports think it was probably a gas leak or some technical problem in the fuel storage system. But they also warn that having so many gas stations and fuel trucks in crowded neighborhoods is creating bigger and bigger risks, especially with old infrastructure and safety checks that aren't keeping up with how much fuel people use. One small mistake can lead to something impossible to undo. Revelation 6:12 describes, "I watched as the Lamb opened the sixth seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth. The images of the sky covered in black smoke after this explosion made many people think of that verse, like a reminder that big shocks are going to come more and more often." The explosion in Grozny isn't just a technical accident, it's a clear warning about how vulnerable our modern world has become. When energy, technology, and lots of people all come together in a tight space, the safety line gets thinner than ever. And if a gas station can turn into a disaster in just a few seconds, the unanswered question is whether bigger explosions are quietly waiting somewhere ahead. 3. A terrifying dark object blocking the sun. In a deep blue sky, the sun looks like a frightening eye. The dark shape moves and opens up. The sky was so blue it seemed completely harmless. Then the light suddenly swayed. The sun wasn't round anymore. It looked hollowed out, right in the middle. A dark mass drifted across, then hung there for a long time, painting everything below with a dizzy, hard-to-name feeling. In that moment, have you ever felt like something was staring straight at you from a place way beyond what we normally understand? No thick clouds, no storm warning, just a crystal-clear emptiness that felt oddly cold. Yet, right in the center of the bright halo, this dark thing appeared so clearly it gave you chills. The light around it bent, the edges twisted, like they were being swallowed. The whole scene turned unreal, like someone had deliberately torn a painting apart. What haunts a lot of people isn't just the blocking, it's the movement. That dark shape didn't drift away like a cloud or vanish like a bird's shadow. It seemed to peel apart, open up, giving the feeling of a giant eye slowly opening and looking down on the world. In just a few short minutes, the sky went strangely dark, the temperature dropped fast, and a heavy silence spread like an unseen threat. Matthew 24-29 says it plainly. Right after the trouble of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon won't give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Those words, placed next to what people just saw, no longer feel like something distant from an old book. They sound like a vivid description that's just been replayed in real life. Some researchers offer the usual explanations, maybe a rare optical effect, the shadow of a high, thick cloud, or light interference from shifting air. They talk about angles, refraction, and illusions that have been recorded before. But none of those ideas really explain why the shape was so sharp, why the movement felt so deliberate, or why the emotional reaction from people who saw it was so strong. Revelation 6:12 describes, "The sun became black as sackcloth, and the moon became like blood." Put that next to the scientific explanations, and you see two different ways of looking at it. On the scribes, one uses careful measurements, the other uses the language of revelation. Science tries to calm us with terms, while the Bible goes straight to the deep unease most people try to avoid. The real issue isn't about choosing which explanation to believe. It's the very real feeling that the sky isn't quiet anymore like it used to be. If light can be blocked in a way like that, if the normal order can be shaken in just a moment, then the safe boundary we feel around us is thinner than we thought. And if what just appeared wasn't just a closed-off event, but a door slowly cracking open, the question left hanging is, when the light comes back, will everything still be the same? 4. The terrifying red cloud over Phuket, Thailand. A red shape just hanging there in the bright blue sky grabs your attention right away. That color doesn't blend in with everything around it, and it doesn't feel like any normal cloud you've seen. It's just sitting there, like someone accidentally dropped a strange dot onto a peaceful tropical afternoon picture. The air was clear that day, with sunshine bouncing off the Phuket Sea, making everything feel calm and steady. But this red cloud moved slowly, separate from the rest of the sky, pulling every eye toward it. Its shape kept changing, the edges stretching and shrinking, like it was building up to something that hadn't shown itself yet. The shocking moment came when two bright points suddenly flashed out from the very center of the cloud. They shot away fast, leaving short trails of light, then disappeared from view. Darren Blakely and the people with him froze. The camera shook a little from the surprise. Would you call that just a trick of the eye? Or something that deliberately appeared right in front of people? Matthew 24-30 puts it this way. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven. All the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. The verse doesn't describe the exact shape, but it stresses the sign and clouds of heaven, almost leaving room for things that don't fit our usual ideas. The video spread quickly and started a big wave of arguments. Some folks say it's just a rare weather thing, light bending when the sun is low, or maybe a well-hidden remote-controlled flying device. Others question the speed and path, saying it doesn't move like the everyday drones we know. Luke 21:25 says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be anxious and confused." That Bible verse doesn't force one explanation. It just points to how people react when they face something that doesn't have an easy answer. You can see that confusion clearly in all the different opinions going around right now. Some people see this as a supernatural signal, like the sky is being used to send a message. Others stay careful, saying we need proof, data, and real science examples first. Between those two sides, the truth still seems to be hanging there, just like that red cloud that hasn't faded from the memories of those who saw it. What's really striking is the main feeling the video leaves behind, more of a deep inner shock than actual fear. When those bright points left the cloud, the question wasn't only, what was that? But why were people allowed to see it? If the sky has started speaking through images we can't easily name, then how will the next message come? 5. A mysterious black smoke ring in the sky over Laos, France, and India. A perfect black smoke ring hangs suspended in midair, so round it grabs your attention right away, and in that instant, we realize the familiar sky is holding something unfamiliar. The dark O shape stands out against the blue background, not drifting apart, not losing its form, giving the sense of a symbol just sketched into the air. This sight has shown up in different places, from Laos to France and then spreading to India, reminding folks of a similar event that stirred things up in Kazakhstan. The space around it stays calm, with light winds and steady light, but the ring holds its shape long enough for witnesses to capture it on video and share it around. The black smoke ring moves slowly, twisting gently on its own axis, with thick, sharp edges, like it's compressed by some invisible force. Many describe it as looking into a gate that's not fully closed, where light gets swallowed into the dark center. The uneasy feeling doesn't come from wild motion, but from the silence of the whole thing. Revelation 9:1-2 describes, "I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace." The smoke and opened mouth in this passage make many folks connect it straight to the circular structure hanging up high, like a warning sign placed right in front of humanity. On social media, opinions explode everywhere. Some say it's a smoke vortex like a soliton, often formed after big fireworks or industrial mishaps. These explanations point to physics precedents and comparison videos to prove the shape similarities. Revelation 6:14 says, "And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together." This wording opens up another picture, where the sky isn't just a passive backdrop, but can shift, open or close at certain times. That's exactly what makes many reject the simple explanations, saying the supernatural vibe can't be wiped away just by science terms. What's notable is the community's emotional response, shifting from curiosity to worry, then to alertness. Even as each side holds their ground, the smoke ring lingers like an unerased black dot in collective memory, reminding us the sky might carry more messages than it seems. If it's just smoke from fireworks, why does the shape hold so tight? And if it's not smoke, what is really opening up above humanity's heads? 6. Black hole in the sky. A huge black circle suddenly appeared right in front of the windshield, perfectly round, hanging in the sky like a sharp cut torn open in space. It was enough to make anyone who saw it freeze in shock. Strange light came from the center of the circle, standing out sharply against the bright sky, giving the feeling of something that didn't belong in our normal world. The whole thing was caught on video by a YouTuber while driving. The clip lasted about 30 seconds, but spread fast before it disappeared. In the frame, a solid black outer ring completely surrounded another dark ring inside. Between the two layers was a glowing halo that seemed to shimmer and move. You could hear people around panicking, some yelling it was a spaceship, others just staring quietly with wary looks. You could feel the unease building with every second of the footage. What makes this hard to ignore is the rare inner ring-outer ring shape. The black circle stayed steady, with clean, sharp edges, not fading or spreading like regular smoke. The light from the center didn't glow evenly, it pulsed in a regular pattern. When the video ended, there was no object falling, no trace left on the ground, just empty sky like nothing had ever happened. Revelation 9:2 puts it plainly. He opened the bottomless pit, and smoke rose out of the pit like the smoke from a huge furnace. The sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke from the pit. A lot of folks see that mouth of the pit and smoke as a direct warning for strange things showing up in the sky, where the line between the seen and unseen worlds gets ripped apart. Right after that, Matthew 24-30 says, "Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn. The Bible puts so much weight on a sign in heaven that this double black ring stops being just a weird sight. It becomes a warning symbol of something much bigger coming soon. On the forums, plenty of people say the video was probably edited, or maybe the ring came from some industrial explosion, a blown transformer, or a special swirling smoke pattern. Still, what really set off the arguments is how fast the original video got taken down. The account vanished, and no full confirmed copy ever turned up. That quick disappearance raised a lot of questions about cover-ups or information being controlled. Whether you look at it from science or from faith, this double black ring phenomenon sends a clear warning. The sky is showing us things that go beyond our usual sense of safety. When structures like that get caught on camera and then vanish, the question isn't what we saw anymore, it's what's being allowed to open up. If that really was a gate, what's waiting on the other side to come through? 7. Fireballs connected by a line of light in the Canadian sky. The very first moments of the video make the Canadian sky look like it's broken away from its normal rules. Lights appear floating there, sharp and alone against the cold, dark background, giving a strange feeling, like a scene no one was ever meant to see or plan. Two bright objects slowly come into clear view. Each one looks like a living fireball, wrapped in a thin layer of smoke. Between them, a long straight line of light forms, gently trembling, just like an electrical wire hanging in midair. Their movements match perfectly, slow but steady, enough to make you sure this isn't just random lights in the sky. The video was recorded in Canada during a year when lots of strange flying object reports came in. The picture shows the two balls keeping a steady distance, with that unbroken line of light between them giving off a white-blue glow and leaving faint smoke trails. You can see the motion stays consistent, like something built and working, not just separate flashes. Luke 21:25-26 comes up a lot when people watch this clip again. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. The powers of the heavens will be shaken. People will faint from fear and worry about what's happening to the world. The Bible's words about powers in the heavens make these two connected fireballs feel like something worth thinking about deeply. After that Bible passage started spreading, some scientific explanations appeared. A few researchers say it might be ball lightning or a rare plasma event where energy builds up into a glowing shape that lasts a short while. That idea covers the light and smoke somewhat, but it still doesn't really explain the steady connecting line between the two objects. From another view, the UFO watching community points out how real the video looks. The picture stays sharp, the camera moves smoothly, and the motion fits real three-dimensional space, making it hard to believe it was faked. So two explanations live side by side, one based on physics, the other seeing it as a sign beyond what we currently understand. Luke 21 keeps coming back more as a hint than a final answer. When the Bible talks about the heavens being shaken, it's not just about fear. It also points to a change in order. These fireballs, linked by light, whatever name we give them, still look like some kind of system running overhead, above all of us. The event ends without any official answer, just leaving those bright frames hanging in the Canadian sky. When that light connects into a straight line, the story doesn't seem to stop at just a strange sight. It opens up a bigger meaning that's still waiting to be revealed. 8. Mysterious dancing light over Greenwood, Indiana. Crown flash, or a sign from God. The afternoon in Greenwood was calm and quiet. The sky was covered with thick clouds, and the light felt soft and peaceful, almost holy. Then, in that ordinary moment, a streak of light appeared on the clouds. It moved gently, hard to pin down, making us feel this wasn't just normal weather light. The video was recorded by a person on an electric bike who pointed their phone at the sky ahead. The light looked like it was dancing, twisting, then splitting into thin bright ribbons that spread along the edge of the cloud. Its movement had its own rhythm, natural yet unusual, leaving you unsure whether it's science or something sacred. The frames show the light constantly changing brightness, sometimes flaring up bright and strong, other times softening like it's breathing with the sky. Viewers can tell right away this isn't regular lightning. The light doesn't rip across the sky. It slides along the clouds, making soft curves and lasting several seconds. Matthew 24-30 often comes up when this video spreads. Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then all the peoples of the earth will mourn when they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. The image of light appearing on the clouds reminds many people of the sign described in this Bible verse. From a science view, some weather experts call this a crown flash. It's a rare sight where ice crystals in the clouds line up with the electric field of a storm and reflect light into twisting bands. That explanation helps understand the physical side, but it still leaves a feeling that something more is going on beyond the plain scientific words. Revelation 1-7 is quoted too, adding a deeper spiritual meaning. Look, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him. The way the Bible image matches this light on the clouds makes many believe it's not just weather, it's a sign allowed to show itself in a way people can see. People online are sharing the video with all kinds of feelings, from quiet wonder to renewed faith. Even though it's called a rare weather event, the light still feels like a message, shining through the clouds like a gentle but clear reminder. As the light slowly faded and the sky went back to normal, what stayed wasn't a final answer. It was a sense of waiting. If this is a guiding light, what big event is being prepared behind those clouds? 9. A clear cloud moving fast over Philadelphia. Up in the North Philadelphia sky, a see-through cloud zipped by so fast it broke the usual flow of everything. A light flashed inside it, like it was hiding something, and we got caught up in that strange moment before we could even put a name to it. The video, shot by Hector Garcia at the corner of 7th Street and Tioga, shows this cloud moving way quicker than the others around it. It was thin, almost see-through, with edges that kept shifting, giving it an unsteady feel, like something might be guiding it. In a few frames, a soft light came from inside, not the usual on and off flash you get from sunlight bouncing off. The real standout was the speed. While the other clouds drifted slowly along with the wind, this one streaked across the sky in just a few seconds, leaving clear blue behind it. The guy who filmed it feels pretty sure what was moving wasn't only a cloud, it was something using that thin layer of cloud to hide its true shape. Matthew 24-30 often gets mentioned with stuff like this. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven. All the peoples of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. The part about coming on the clouds makes a lot of folks connect it right away to this odd, fast-moving cloud. In the later shots, the light inside got brighter, like a glowing point wrapped in thin haze. The light moved out of sync with the cloud itself, making it seem like two different motions were layered on top of each other. That little detail gets people wondering if something was really hidden in there. Revelation 1-7 comes up too, as a stronger hint. Look, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him. That verse leads many to think clouds aren't just weather. They can cover things being revealed at the right time. From a science angle, some folks say it might be an optical illusion, a lenticular cloud, or winds moving at different speeds in different layers of the air. But those ideas have a hard time explaining the light coming from inside or the quick, unusual direction changes. Online, people are passing the video around with all sorts of takes, from quiet curiosity to believing the sky is hiding movements we don't fully understand yet. No official word has come out, and the cloud vanished just as fast as it showed up. It all ends with a strange quiet. If something was truly hiding behind that cloud, then what exactly is the sky seeing? And who is being watched from up there? 10. Mysterious green beam in Arizona. It happened so fast, almost no time to get ready for it. A strange green light shot straight up into the Arizona desert sky, cold, sharp, like an invisible hand grabbed it and threw it upward in total silence. No bang, no shake, just this weird feeling that left people wondering, was this some rare physics thing, or did a door just crack open somewhere? A video that spread on a Spanish-language social media page shows the night sky torn by a tall, straight green streak. No spreading, no fading, nothing like the usual sky events we know. The light didn't drop or slowly disappear. It just vanished all at once, like it finished what it came to do. The unease didn't come from the picture itself, but from the sense that this didn't fit the normal rules of our world. Many people who study UFOs say the shape and way it moved remind them of a short doorway between different spaces, something that pops in and out in a blink. What really throws them off isn't the light, but how it acted. It stood still for a second, then shot straight up with perfect, cold aim, like it had a destination picked out long ago. Revelation 9:1-2 describes something pretty scary, like this. I saw a star fall from heaven to earth, and it was given the key to the bottomless pit. It opened the pit, and smoke rose from it like smoke from a huge furnace, so the sun and the air were darkened. Here, the Bible doesn't just hint, it warns. There are doors that aren't meant for us, and when they open, the old order starts to fall apart. Of course, doubters jumped in quick. Some said it was just a twisting rocket exhaust trail or a clever hoax to get likes and shares. But those ideas hit the same wall. No man-made thing has ever made a solid, straight-up green column of light that doesn't scatter, then disappears completely without leaving any clear trace in the Arizona sky. Revelation 6:14 pushes the worry even higher. The sky vanished like a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. This isn't just an explanation anymore. It's a judgment on the world when the line between above and below stops holding. If it was just a streak of light, it wouldn't have kept so many people awake. But if it's a sign that supernatural openings are starting to show up, then the question isn't where it came from, it's this. When those doors open wider, where will humanity stand in the judgment that was set a long time ago? When all those pieces come together, a bigger picture starts to appear, one with lines that keep getting more and more jumbled, as if the familiar order of the world is starting to shake. These aren't just scattered incidents anymore. The events keep coming one after another, fast and heavy, giving the feeling that humanity is standing at a very different doorway than anything we've known before. In this quiet moment, we have to ask ourselves, how ready are we, deep down in our spirit, to face what's coming next? Matthew 24:6-8 sounded an early warning. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Those words aren't meant to scare us into panic. They're meant to wake us up and keep us alert. The most frightening thing isn't the signs in the sky or on the earth. It's the way people just shrug them off and treat every warning like it's nothing. In this flood of information, it's so easy to miss the deeper meaning behind these repeating signs. Real preparation doesn't come from trying to guess dates and times. It comes from getting our inner life right again, turning back to the foundation of faith we've let slip away. 1 Thessalonians 5:2-3 puts it plainly. You know very well that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. While people are saying peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly. This isn't a threat. It's a wake-up call for anyone who's fallen asleep in a false sense of security. If these words touch something in you, feel free to leave a short prayer or a simple, honest thought from your heart below. Just a quiet way to answer that gentle call. And if you feel this message should reach more people, A share or a follow would help others not miss these important reminders in the days ahead. Romans 15:13 closes with a gentle blessing. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him. May that peace cover us and our loved ones. So, no matter how the world changes, our hearts stay steady. Amen.
Coverage on the ground. We start with Channel 2's Richard Elliott. And Richard, you confirmed agents seized.
Should be ashamed of you.
Ellie is here on scene in getting information as to what
To dismiss the prosecutor if they were worried that a judge
Madison has a court hearing next week, and his lawyers want to exclude video of the murder happening.
The Department of Justice cracking down on alleged healthcare fraud in LA County, calling it an epidemic.
And CBS actually ends up exposing, number one, it's an orchestrated international propaganda.
Words are not enough. It's time for action.
Renee Good, also killed by a federal officer in Minneapolis.
What's slipping out of control just as the new year is dawning? Sudden federal raids, northern streets lost in tear gas, gunshots ripping through everyday life, dirty money swelling until it's choking everything, and outside hands quietly pulling strings. It's all hitting fast, not giving anyone a chance to catch their breath. This isn't a bunch of random events. Order is cracking, truth is getting twisted, people's hearts are rocking like waves crashing over the shore. Those old warnings are echoing again, knocking hard in every moment, reminding us time doesn't stand still, and staying awake is a matter of survival. The story still has a dark corner that hasn't been lit up yet. And do you realize it's not just coincidence anymore? If faith still has a voice, leave a quiet, sacred word so we can hold on to hope together before we step deeper into whatever's waiting ahead. Now come with me. Let's go deeper and pull back the curtains, hiding the truth. We'll start right away with the first shocking event. FBI suddenly raids Fulton County election hub. Hunt for 2020 election fraud kicks off. On the 28th of January 2026, the quiet in Union City, Georgia, got shattered when hundreds of federal agents showed up out of nowhere at the Fulton County election hub. They sealed off the place and started loading up boxes of ballots from the 2020 election. No heads up, no big press conference, just sirens, body armor, and trucks ready to go. You could tell right away this wasn't some routine check. It felt like a direct hit on the heart of the big argument that split America for years. According to Fox News, the spot they hit was the Fulton County Election Hub and Operations Center, a modern building opened back in 2023, right on the edge of Atlanta. The search warrant came from Magistrate Judge Catherine M. Salinas. It let them take documents about how ballots were stored and handled. In just a few hours, hundreds of boxes with paper ballots, ballot images, voter lists, and provisional ballots got sealed and hauled onto trucks. This went on late into the night, and details of the warrant stayed under seal, not released to the public. This whole thing hits extra hard because of what's been going on lately. Not long before, Fulton County's DA Fonnie Willis got pulled from a related case over personal issues, which raised questions about how clean the whole legal process around election stuff really is. At the same time, the Trump administration kept signaling they were going to look again at the old doubts from 2020, saying big legal steps were coming soon. Fox News says this could be the opening move in a huge federal case like nothing we've seen before. Seeing agents carry out box after box lit a fire under the debate right away. Local officials sounded worried, saying this might go too far and hurt people's trust even more. On the other side, the Justice Department under Trump called it a needed step to hold people accountable, especially with all the talk lately about government agencies being weaponized. The two sides crashed head-on, and nobody's backing down. Right in the middle of all this fast-moving news, the Bible steps in like a way to make sense of it. Acts 5:1-11 tells the story of Ananias and Sapphira, who hid the truth and faced instant consequences. It reminds us that lies, no matter how well hidden, can't stand up to the light. Ananias, why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit? That question hits like a mirror on actions covered up by power and self-interest. Fox News reports that a lot of constitutional law experts say sealing the warrant shows how sensitive this case is. Some think it's needed to protect the investigation. Others warn it could make divisions worse if the results don't convince people. The tug-of-war between openness and keeping society steady is a tough one with no easy answer. Proverbs 11:1 lays it out plain. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Put that next to the picture of sealed ballot boxes, and it stops being just an old saying. It becomes a straight-up challenge about fairness and honesty in decisions that shape the whole country's future. Political analysts point out that no matter what the investigation finds, the mental impact is already done and can't be undone. Some folks see this as proof the system needs a full check from the ground up. Others worry it's setting a bad example for future elections. Suspicion is spreading wide, and the effects go way beyond just the courtroom. In all this, Matthew 24-24 sounds like a warning about clever deception in shaky times, for false messiahs and false prophets will appear, to deceive, if possible, even the elect. This verse doesn't pick sides on who's right or wrong, but it gives a way to see that truth in chaotic moments always gets hidden under layers of cover. Plenty of skeptical voices still say the whole thing is just a political hunt with no real proof, and it risks messing with fair process. Even so, hundreds of ballot boxes getting pulled out in a big operation like this has become a real truth bomb. It's forcing all of America to face questions that never got fully answered. The story pauses here, but those boxes sit behind sealed doors, waiting to be opened. What comes out when the seals break, and whether this legal wave brings America closer to the truth or deeper into division, is still an open question everyone's mind. The Charlie Kirk assassination. Hearing to exclude graphic video shocks the whole country. In September 2025, a long-range shot went through Charlie Kirk's neck, right in the middle of Utah Valley University's campus in Orem. It ended the life of one of America's most controversial political figures. That shot didn't just take down one man, it froze the whole public space and left a stunned feeling that lasted for months afterward. We enter this story with a cold, hard fact. Political violence has gone way beyond just words. It happened during a rally on the 10th of September 2025, while the crowd was still chanting slogans and security was supposed to have the area under control. The bullet came from a long distance, hit him in the neck in an instant, and dropped him right in front of hundreds of people watching. The accused gunman is Tyler Robinson, 22 years old. He was arrested later and faces serious charges, from aggravated murder to firearm discharge and tampering with evidence. According to reports, a hearing at the 4th District Court in Provo in January 2026 shocked the public all over again. The defense team asked to exclude the highly graphic crime scene video, saying the bloody images could hit jurors too hard emotionally and bias their judgment. That argument quickly put the courtroom in a tough spot between the right to a fair trial and the need to face the truth head-on. In the released investigation files, the video capturing the exact moment he was shot spread fast on social media before it got taken down. The prosecution says the video honestly shows how brutal the act was. The defense stresses it's not needed and wants the prosecutor excluded because of a conflict of interest. His daughter was at the rally. This fight pulls justice in two opposite directions, with each side claiming to protect the real principles. Criminal psychologists who looked at it say Robinson's actions show built-up hatred and a twisted view of his own role in our divided politics. Instead of seeing an opponent as a fellow human, the accused turned the victim into a symbol that had to be eliminated, a long slide from extreme ideas into real violence. It shows how thin the line is between strong belief and obsession, and how quickly it can break. At this point, the Bible doesn't come in to comfort, it comes to accuse. Genesis 4:1-16 tells the story of Cain killing Abel, where unchecked jealousy and anger led to the first murder in human history. The voice of your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground isn't just judgment on Cain, it's an everlasting charge against violence born from hate. As the legal arguments go on, social media explodes with clashing opinions. Some try to explain the gunman's side by pointing to mental pressure, a heated environment, and all the hateful language out there. On the other side, plenty of voices curse him and demand the harshest punishment, seeing this as a sign of moral collapse. In between those extremes are more neutral takes, asking what kind of system let hate build up until someone pulled the trigger. 2 Timothy 3:1-5 describes difficult times when people become cruel, without self-control, and without love. Put that Bible passage next to today's arguments. It doesn't point fingers at one person, but it lays bare the spiritual atmosphere where violence gets fed by swollen egos and widespread numbness. Some legal watchers say excluding the graphic video might be necessary to keep the trial from being ruled by emotion. Others warn that shielding too much will hide the true nature of the crime. This debate reflects a deeper fear. Society is struggling to face violence without letting it come back in some other form. Matthew 24:9-10 talks about persecution and betrayal in chaotic times, when people turn against each other over beliefs and positions. And in Revelation 6:4, the red horse, given power to take peace from the earth, sounds like a condemnation of this endless cycle of killing. This assassination, whether seen through a legal or social lens, has gone beyond one single crime. It has become a warning signal that political violence is crossing into a new level, where differences in views can quickly turn into targets to destroy. The crime scene video is still blocked in some proceedings, but Tyler Robinson's real motive and what fed it remains a hanging question waiting to be fully exposed. Crackdown on hospice fraud in LA. $3.5 billion ended up in mafia hands. $3.5 billion. In just a small area covering less than 4 city blocks in Los Angeles, the Medicare system was gutted with numbers that leave you stunned. In January 2026, the federal government made this public, and the question hit almost right away. How could a healthcare fraud scheme grow this huge without anyone noticing for years? According to official reports from CMS and federal oversight agencies, the hotspot was in San Fernando Valley, around Van Nuys, where 42 hospice facilities were legally registered on paper but had 0 real patients. The addresses were real, signs were up, paperwork got filed on time, but inside, the rooms sat empty. Medicare kept paying, month after month, for end-of-life care that never happened. The operation wasn't random, it was tightly organized. This network hired doctors to sign blank forms, recruited people to pose as patients, and built fake treatment records to pull federal money. Investigations showed more than 100,000 patient files got abused, while in reality, nobody received any care. The payments were broken into small pieces and moved around through multiple companies to hide the money trail. Things got clearer when individual cases started coming to light from 2024 to 2025. Some defendants, like Fichidjian and Srapian, got sentenced after being part of fraud schemes worth up to $16 million. At the same time, the number of hospices in that area jumped 7 times in a short period, an obvious red flag that auditors later admitted they ignored for too long. In the Bible, Matthew 21:12-13 says, Jesus entered the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He said to them, "It is written, my house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers." When money takes over the original purpose, the collapse usually doesn't come with a bang. It rots quietly from the inside. Investigators from the Department of Justice and HHS OIG pointed out small but telling details. Signs in Russian-Armenian script, offices packed unusually close together, and paperwork that matched down to the exact same forms. The federal government even moved a Border Patrol commander who used to handle Minnesota over to California to step up the crackdown, showing just how serious this was. Acts 5:1-11 tells the story of Ananias and Sapphira, who lied about their offering and hid the truth, facing immediate consequences. The story isn't about size, it's about the heart. When deception becomes normal, it brings its own judgment. When the numbers came out, people split right away. Some blamed weak oversight. Others worried the healthcare system was being hijacked from within, and plenty felt straight-up anger toward those profiting off sick and dying people. At the same time, the media noted pushback. You can't paint an entire community with the fraud brush, and financial crime doesn't have an ethnic color. 1 Timothy 6-9-10 warns, those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. When greed reaches an industrial scale, it doesn't just twist personal morals, it eats away at society's trust. With hundreds of agents reassigned and raids spreading, California is once again called the capital of healthcare fraud. James 5:1-6 says, "Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail because of the misery that is coming on you." The question still hanging is, after Los Angeles, where else will this show up? Or is this just the tip of a much bigger iceberg? Network Far Left funded by Singham. Insurgency against ICE from Shanghai. From Shanghai, a hidden flow of money goes back to the US, supporting actions that get called protests, but look more like organized and disciplined operations. Does hearing this give you chills? Neville Roy Singham, an American billionaire who's lived in Shanghai for years, is under investigation by US congressional committees over his ideological and financial ties. Public records show more than $20 million funneled through groups like the People's Forum in New York, PSL, and various alternative media channels. These funds don't just go to workshops or forums. They're said to connect directly to the big protests that broke out in Minneapolis early in 2026. The money trail leads to clear, organized structures. Investigation documents describe rapid response teams, instructions for surveillance and pressuring federal workers, plus encrypted chats on Signal. Before each hotspot, messages were prepped, roles were assigned, and the language used was highly inflammatory. Ephesians 6:12 says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world." When you look at how these networks operate, a lot of people feel what's happening goes way beyond normal protests, like there's an invisible layer of conflict behind the chaotic scenes. Federal law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, have started checks into possible pre-planning of violence based on timing and what was shared in those private channels. Some security experts call it coordinated insurgency, while others are more careful and stress that you can't paint everyone who marched with the same brush as the funding networks behind the scenes. Daniel 7 describes rising empires as beasts symbolizing power and ambition. The four great beasts are four kings that will rise from the earth. For many Bible analysts, this picture is often used to reflect on power systems that operate beyond national borders. On the other side, critics argue that these funds support legitimate social work, and funding doesn't mean controlling the actions. They say accusing like this can hurt free speech and hide real social problems. In response, counterintelligence experts warn that history shows foreign influence often starts with money and ideology. Revelation 13 talks about a system with wide-reaching influence. It made the whole world astonished and follow the beast. This passage gets brought up a lot when discussing invisible power structures that spread deep, crossing geographic and legal lines. Another layer of analysis questions the timing. Leaked conversations show preparations happened before the violence started, raising doubts about how spontaneous it really was. Do you think it's just coincidence, or signs of a plan set up ahead of time? 2 Peter 3-4 warns, "In the last days, scoffers will come, saying, 'Where is this coming?' he promised." For many Bible believers, growing skepticism and chaos often come with big shifts in history. As investigations keep widening and data from those encrypted channels gets decoded bit by bit, this story isn't over yet. If the financial and organizational links get clearly proven, what happens next to the networks behind it? And how will America face this challenge going forward? Allegations that Ilhan Omar laundered money through a fake winery called East Crew LLC. The contrast hits you right away with the numbers. A congresswoman, once known for growing up poor, is now listed with assets worth tens of millions of dollars. While the business in her name shows almost no signs of real activity, that one detail alone shocks a lot of people and makes them ask, what's really going on behind these financial records? The financial disclosure forms filed in 2023 and updated in May 2024 show a big jump in her reported net worth, with ESTCRU LLC in Santa Rosa, California, standing out. The company is described as a winery, but it started with only about $15,000 and later got valued at nearly $5 million. Reports say the business website shut down back in 2020. Social media accounts have no new posts. The contact phone is always busy, and Google Street View shows an empty spot at the address. The strange details keep coming when people dig into what used to be online about East Crew. The site called itself Memory Curators, but the links are broken. There's no info on wine products, no public sales records, and no sign of it at industry events. When you put these scattered pieces together, it raises questions about a financial setup that exists more on paper than in real life. Acts 5:1. 11 tells the story of Ananias and Sapphira, who hid the truth about their money. and the Bible passage stresses the serious consequences of lying to the community. When people compare the two, many feel these old stories still speak to today's debates about transparency and honesty. Things get more complicated because Ilhan Omar's husband, Tim Minette, has been named in lawsuits over alleged investor fraud in cannabis and wine projects. Some lawmakers and officials have called for clarity on whether these money flows connect to the welfare fraud scandals that shook the Somali community in Minnesota, along with claims of political cover at the state level. Proverbs 11:1 says, "The Lord hates dishonest scales, but accurate weights are pleasing to him." For many Bible readers, it's a reminder that imbalance in measuring value, whether money or morals, ends up breaking trust. On social media, reactions split hard in two directions. One side says business valuations can come from venture investments and future potential, not current sales. And Ilhan Omar has denied claims she's a multimillionaire. The other side sees the silence from these inactive assets as proof of a system using legal loopholes to build wealth. James 5:1-6 warns, "Come now, you rich people, weep and wail because of the misery that is coming on you." People often quote this when talking about wealth tied to oppression and lack of accountability, especially for those in power. Investigations are reportedly under review by the DOJ and the House, while supporters urge waiting for official findings instead of rushing to judge. 1 Timothy 6:10 reminds us that the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, a verse still used to shine light on the tension between political ideals and personal gain. As the records stay open and the numbers keep getting checked, this story remains unresolved. If the suspicions turn out badly, what would the legal fallout be? And is this just one isolated case, or a sign of a bigger wave of corruption waiting to come out? 2 shootings of American citizens by ICE in Minneapolis spark outrage. 2 American citizens lost their lives in less than 3 weeks. Same city, both tied to ICE operations, and both deaths caught on video that spread fast across social media. Those cold facts raise a painful question. What's happening to the line between law enforcement and human life? And are we crossing a dangerous boundary without even realizing it? On the 7th of January 2026, Renee Good, 37, a mother of 3, was shot and killed in North Minneapolis while watching ICE activity in the neighborhood. According to Fox News and CNN, she was confirmed as a U.S. citizen, unarmed, and present during Operation Metro Surge, which had thousands of federal agents deployed. The shooting happened quickly amid the chaos, leaving a broken family and a stunned community behind. Matthew 24:6-8 talks about the birth pains of turbulent times, where wars and violence follow one after another as signs of deep unrest. Many believe what's happening in Minneapolis matches that exact state, with tensions rising day by day. Less than 3 weeks later, on the 24th of January 2026, Alex Preddy, 37, an ICU nurse who had served at a VA hospital, was shot multiple times near the Glamdal Donut shop on Nicollet Avenue. Fox News and CNN reports, along with video, show Preddy already pinned on the ground, pepper spray used, weapon taken away, but shots were still fired afterward. Those images shocked viewers because they raise questions about how necessary force was in a situation that seemed under control. Psalm 10 describes the cries of the oppressed when power becomes a tool to spread fear instead of protecting justice. This psalm gets mentioned a lot whenever communities feel helpless against the might of the state. After the 2 deaths, Minneapolis erupted in protests that went on for days. Tens of thousands took to the streets, in temperatures dropping to -29 degrees Fahrenheit. Memorials sprang up on street corners. And even some pastors were arrested at the airport while trying to stop the violence from getting worse. According to Fox News and CNN, the agents involved were placed on leave during an internal investigation, but that did little to calm the wave of anger. Matthew 24:9 warns of a time when people will be persecuted and handed over to death, not just for faith, but because hatred spreads between people. For many believers, these words ring as a reminder that violence can show up right in everyday life. Pushback came quickly from the government and supporters of law enforcement. They argued self-defense, saying the victims interfered with federal operations during high-tension moments. Some pointed out that decisions were made in split seconds, under real pressure and real danger, and can't be judged just by a few edited video clips. Revelation 6 speaks of seals being opened, including the image of those killed for justice, their cries for fairness rising from under the altar. For many Bible readers, this isn't just symbolic. It's a warning about the cost of unchecked violence. Still, others see a clear tipping point. 2 American citizens, 2 different situations, both ending the same way at the hands of state power, have sparked fear that individual lives are becoming more fragile than ever. Matthew 24:6 reminds us not to be alarmed by bad news, but it doesn't deny that violence is a sign of dangerous times. The story in Minneapolis isn't over. Talk of invoking the Insurrection Act has started showing up in political debates, and Minnesota's future faces an uncertain fork in the road. As anger keeps building, the open question remains: which path will society choose? Healing through justice and compassion, or sliding deeper into a cycle of confrontation with no one knowing where it stops? Protests and major violence in Minneapolis. Insurrection against ICE. The streets of Minneapolis were thick with tear gas, hotel windows shaking hard, sirens and bullhorns blaring over each other in the cold winter night. It created such a chaotic scene that people watching could hardly believe this was America. In the middle of the crowds pouring into the streets, you could feel the tension rising fast as order and anger crashed together with no space left in between. After shootings involving ICE, waves of protests broke out all across downtown in January 2026. Crowds rushed to the hotels where federal agents were staying. Some groups pushed at doors, threw water bottles and snowballs at security forces, while main roads were completely blocked off. On-the-ground counts showed that at times, protesters outnumbered police by 10 to 1, making crowd control extremely tough. Matthew 24:6-8 describes wars and rumors of wars, nation rising against nation, as a way to understand society when conflict spreads from global issues down to every neighborhood. A lot of folks went back to that passage when they saw the confrontations happening right here in their own country. The clashes went on for several nights in a row. Police and National Guard used tear gas and stun grenades to break up the crowds, while protest groups stayed organized with signal whistles, quick response teams, and encrypted messaging channels to track agent movements in real time. Makeshift tent camps and field kitchens went up in temperatures dropping below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, showing this wasn't just a quick outburst, it was a sustained campaign. Revelation 6-4 talks about the red horse given power to take peace from the earth and make people kill one another, often seen as a symbol of spreading violence. In the Minneapolis situation, many believe social peace is being drained away hour by hour. Security analysts pointed out signs of solid organization behind the movement, from logistics to messaging, with far-left groups and ICE Watch networks involved. Conservatives called it a form of insurrection, challenging federal authority, while the left side insisted most of it was peaceful protest against what they saw as abuse of power. The reality on the streets showed both pictures existing side by side, making the whole thing even more complicated. 2 Timothy 3-1-5 warns about perilous times when people become brutal, without self-control, and divided. Many pastors quoted this passage as a key to understanding a society that's losing its patience. Amid all the arguing, state and federal authorities kept adjusting their tactics, calling for calm while keeping security in place. Arrests happened here and there, but not enough to end the conflict completely. Each passing night just fueled more anger and distrust. We're watching a long, drawn-out tug-of-war where neither side is ready to back down easily. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the powers and dark forces, offering a deeper explanation for the unseen layers behind the visible violence. For many believers, it's a call to look beyond the immediate clashes and grasp the true nature of the conflict. Even though some say most of the marches stayed peaceful, the level of organization and pockets of violence were enough to sound a serious alarm. This organized chaos is seen as a major sign of instability, showing society stepping into its most explosive phase. As calls for cooling things down mix with threats of escalation, the Minneapolis story still ends with a big question mark. Will order be restored? Or is this just the opening act for even bigger storms ahead? 7 events have come and gone, like a series of shocks, each one stronger than the last. They don't stand alone. They pile up on each other to form a bigger picture of a very uneasy time. From power and money to violence and organized lies, it all adds up to a feeling that the world is entering a time of intense struggle where the usual layers of stability are starting to crack. Matthew 24:6-8 describes this very clearly when it talks about labor pains, saying there will be wars, conflicts, violence, and earthquakes before something even greater comes. All these are the beginning of birth pains. When you put these 7 events side by side, you see that same rhythm repeating, faster, stronger, and harder to ignore. The scary part isn't just the individual events. It's the widespread sense of being lost. Justice gets stretched and pulled in arguments. Truth gets split apart by self-interest, and people's hearts get pushed around by fear and anger. In times like this, being awake isn't some abstract idea anymore. It's a matter of survival so we don't get swept away by the crowd. Matthew 24:42 reminds us, "Therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come." Being awake here doesn't mean panic. It means keeping our spirit from falling asleep, keeping our conscience from getting hardened, and keeping our faith from being drowned out by all the noise of the world. In the middle of these rough waves, prayer becomes a quiet but solid anchor. When we stop to pray, to think things over, and to turn back to values deeper than power or money, even in the chaos, we can still find peace in our hearts. This is also the moment to ask ourselves what we're getting ready for in the time ahead, not just materially, but spiritually too. 1 Thessalonians 5-6 says, "So then, let us not be like others, who are asleep, but let us be awake and sober." Those words come across as a gentle but firm reminder that there's no more time to be indifferent or put off important decisions about our inner life. If there's a prayer in your heart, a worry you're carrying, or a thought you've never shared, feel free to leave it in the comments as a way to express your faith and connect with each other for support. If these thoughts help us see the bigger picture of our time more clearly, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future messages. Thank you so much for staying with me until this moment, and may peace cover us and our families in the days ahead. Amen.
A judge in Minnesota is ordering the acting head of Immigration and Customs Enforcement to appeal.
Hold restrictions on how law enforcement can respond.
President Trump says he's now sending Border Czar Tom Homan to Minnesota, and some Senate Democrats
getting essentially his day in court. And so the judge in this case is
CBS News. Top Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee have asked Justice Department officials to handle.
And good evening. We begin tonight with the fast-moving developments in Minneapolis after a protest.
Says officers were trying to arrest a suspect convicted of domestic assault.
What's really going on with America right now? Death threats popping up every day, the law clashing with power, and the streets right on the edge of riots. Do you feel like time is running out? Late January 2026, Minneapolis got hit hard, one thing after another. Hate exploding, lawsuits piling up, orders coming down, angry words flying, crowds closing in tight, warnings of force echoing through the freezing night. Everything's moving way too fast, way too harsh. No time for anyone to step back. Before we go any further, just say a quick prayer, like one last anchor in the storm that's opening up, okay? Amen. And now, so you don't have to wait long, let's jump right in with death threats against ICE agents jumped 80% in just a few weeks, dragging their families into a swamp of violence. "You fascist pig! Kill yourself! I hope your wife dies screaming." Those exact words came in voicemails sent to ICE agents' phones in Minneapolis. No metaphors, no hints, just plain calls for violence. When you read or hear those messages, you're seeing the kind of talk the Bible described a long time ago. Words no longer held back by conscience or any fear of what's holy. From January 24 to 27, 2026, after the shootings that killed American citizens Alex Preddy and Renee Good, DHS recorded an 80% increase in death threats aimed at ICE agents, with assaults up 300% compared to the same time period. The numbers show how quickly the hatred is rising, not just in how many, but in how intense it is. 2 Timothy 3:1. 3 describes this exact situation. But mark this, There will be terrible times in the last days. People will be abusive without love. The passage isn't about one specific group. It's about the general state of society when moral restraint breaks down. On the 26th of January 2026, DHS released some sample voicemails to show how bad it has gotten. The content doesn't stop at personal insults. It goes straight to cursing families, calling for suicide, and threatening to hunt people down. Doxing comes along with it, forcing many families to change their everyday routines. We see a clear parallel here with Matthew 24:9, where the prophecy points to rising persecution and hatred. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted, and you will be hated by all nations because of me. The focus of the verse isn't on any particular label. It's on hatred becoming a group reflex. According to Fox News, security officials say the tense political climate has let violent language spread more easily. That view got quick pushback online. Some folks say the 80% figure is exaggerated since it started from a very low number. Others argue that no matter how you figure the percentage, threatening innocent families has gone way beyond policy arguments. 2 Timothy 3:12 adds an important point. In fact, everyone who wants to live a godly life in Christ Jesus will be persecuted. The verse doesn't predict every detail, but it lays out a rule. Pressure and opposition will grow when society hits unstable times. What's worth noting is that the Bible doesn't describe hatred as some random outburst, but as the result of a chain of moral decline. 2 Timothy 3 lists traits: lovers of themselves, boastful, abusive in speech, as signs that show up together. When we look at the current data, we don't need to put religious labels on anyone to see the similar patterns of behavior. Many people push back against making this connection, saying quoting the Bible might hide the real social and political factors. Still, as a kind of warning, the Bible doesn't replace modern analysis. It puts it in a longer moral frame. Matthew 24 isn't meant to explain policy details. It shows the spiritual direction humanity takes when conflicts rise and hearts grow hard. Looking back at the stream of threatening voicemails, the huge spike in numbers, and the arguments around them, we see one clear point: the normalizing of calls for violence. The Bible has warned about this state for a long time, not as a detailed forecast, but as a caution about what happens when society loses its moral boundaries. The question left hanging isn't who's right or wrong in the political debate, but whether these curses will stay just words, or if they're only the start of a deeper escalation where law and violence will collide head-on in the days ahead. Legal war breaks out. Judge orders ICE director to show up in Minneapolis court. The tension isn't just on the streets anymore. It's right in the courtroom. Legal papers are getting signed fast, summons are going out, and big titles are facing off head-to-head. Things in Minnesota have shifted to full alert mode. We're seeing a moment where the law isn't just settling a dispute, it's becoming the battlefield itself. On the 12th of January, 2026, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, along with the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, filed a lawsuit to stop Operation Metro Surge, the big federal immigration crackdown that started back in December 2025. This case isn't only about one program. It's questioning where the line is between state power and federal power, especially with all the violence and protests pulling society apart. The big moment came when federal judge Patrick J. Schiltz ordered the ICE director to appear in person at the Minneapolis courthouse on the 30th of January 2026, or face possible contempt of court. This is a rare, strong move that shows the courts are ready to step deep into the fight with the executive branch. Wisconsin's Attorney General quickly jumped in to help, spreading the conflict beyond just one state. CNN covered it and said constitutional law experts call this one of the most intense power clashes over immigration policy in years. Supporters of the Trump administration say the lawsuit is obstruction of justice, blocking federal law enforcement. The other side says it's about protecting local authority and citizens' rights. You can feel the tug-of-war. Both sides quote the law, but they end up in completely opposite places. In all this, the Bible doesn't come in as judgment, but as a way to understand the repeating pattern of power. John 18:37-38 records the talk between Jesus and Pilate. "You are a king, then," said Pilate. Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. What is truth?" Pilate asked,